Hi everyone. So in the middle of recording my little bonus video yesterday where we're doing this, whoops. Unfortunately an alarm on my phone went off, and what it does is it deactivates the video. And so then, because I don't have a computer at the moment, I can't edit it, and so I would have had to have started from scratch. So I just don't have the time to do that. Instead, I thought I will just continue on in this second part, and I'll have part A and part B and show you where I got up to. So in the last video, we had gotten up to the point where I showed you how this came out of the oven, and it was just this, and I hadn't edged or distressed the edge yet. So with the card, we had completed the card front and back, but I hadn't put on the tab yet. And I hadn't shown you yet how to make the little pointer. I didn't have 3D dots, so I made my own out of foam board, and then I just glued them on and I colored them in a little bit, and they don't look too bad when I put them on there. It actually sort of looks pretty cute. I'm going to stick it, but I haven't decided where I'm going to stick it yet. Probably over the top of the no, or some cool thing like that, where it's just like a little 3D element and it just looks so cool. Let me think. See, there we go. So you can see how that's going to look. And then it'll have the card in there as well. So it'll look really good. Okay, so what I ended up doing is, I'm just going to continue on with this one, even though it's not stained and inked in the inside. I'm just going to do the edges so you can see the follow on from that one and see what I did. So I actually went ahead and then I used my distressing tool again, distressed the edges, and then all I did was I inked it with the walnut stain, and then I inked everything with black. And the reason I did that is because this one already comes with the pre-inking on the actual copy, and I found that it blended in better with everything if I put black inking around everything. So I did the brown. I put more brown inking on this actual card. Like you can see, it was the same color as this, and I've actually put more brown inking on this to make it look more old and distressed, but also to make it blend more together, all of it. And so I put some brown on here. I used all three. I used vintage photo, antique linen, and walnut stain, and I just did it lightly so that it wouldn't obscure anything. And then I didn't edge this black, but I did edge all of this black so it would blend in. And I did a distressed edge on this on both sides, and then I did it with the brown, and then I edged it black. And then this, I had already done pretty much everything except I edged it with some black as well. So all we do is we get the walnut stain, and I just edged it quite liberally. Like I went in the edges a bit. I'll show you here in a minute what I mean. So can you see there, that side and that side? And I went in quite a bit with the brown. And then when I was done edging with the brown, walnut stain I should say, I went along with the black. And you'll see in a second how that looks. But I also used my Sharpie pen, and I went around the edges as well. You got to be really careful with that, because if you don't do it just right, you'll end up with little like lines all around where you go over with the pen. I'll show you here in a second. Where's my black? Okay. So after I did it with the brown, I went over with the black. And I'm just going to do the other side with the brown so you can see the contrast and see how different it looks with just the brown and then with the brown and the black. Okay, here we go. Alright. So this is the edge with just... Okay, this is just the edge with just the brown. And this one has the black added as well. It probably isn't going to come up as well on the camera as I'd like it to. But there really is a big difference. And then I just go around the edges with the edge of my Sharpie. As well. See? So this is how the raw edge was before. And then this is... Whoop. That's with the brown and the black on it. Okay, does that make sense? So that way you're blending it in more so that it suits the finished card more. And so then on this part of it, I just got the brown and I just... Oops, that one's a bit heavy. I've got a bit too much on this one, so I'm just gonna take that off. Get down from there and leave those, please. Sorry, my little boys. Playing with the eggs. I don't want to have to clean an egg up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, Mummy doesn't want to clean eggs up, okay? Alright, so I'm just getting the antique linen. I always tend to work like from the lightest to the darkest. And I'm just sort of splotching that everywhere. So you can see, there's like some old, it looks ink like age spots, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's...
Okay.
That one. Vintage photos next.
Oh, do need some paper. Okay. Do need some paper now. Okay, I get some paper now. Paper. Where's the paper?
Okay, and then walnut stain is last.
Where's paper go at, Mom? Where's paper at?
So you see, just to make it look a little bit more aged, and I've probably gone a little heavy on that one, to be honest with you, but, you know, at least you guys can see. What I'm getting at, right? So you're adding more interest and more color to it. And then you fold it all. I didn't even distress that top edge either. So that's basically all I did. Let me just quickly do this so that it sort of looks half done. Oh, I might as well just go ahead and do it. It doesn't take that much effort.
I don't see it. I did now. Mom, where were they? Where were they? Where's paper now? I don't paper now.
My little helper talking in the background there.
Oh.
Okay, let's get one of the other ink stains. I'm just quickly finishing this one off so that it's not confusing if you guys are watching this and you're like, what? It doesn't look like the other one. I'll get everything out of the way so I'm not overspraying. Okay.
I just write back. I write back.
There we go.
Dog Melvin, he's Melvin. Dog she and Maggie Raggo and Mary Rag. Go. Oh no. And touch it. And touch it. Oh, touch it.
There we go. There's another one done.
There's
It really doesn't take that long, so
Oh no!
let me just quickly score this.
I don't know paper this.
Then I'll be able to give you a little bit better of an indication of what it looks like.
What's going on, Finn? Mom, what's going on, Finn?
Okay.
What's going on? What's going on, Finn, Mom?
I'm recording a video, Julian. Can you please be quiet?
Okay.
Just a little bit, thank you.
Okay.
Alright, so here we go. This one's a little heavy, but it will look better when it dries up. It's wet at the moment, so it looks much darker than it should. But when it dries, it'll look better. And I've still got to edge those edges again with the ink so that it looks more blended. But I can't do that till it dries. So here we go. So we're at the similar stages I was when it cut out last time. So my oven's not even on, so I can't put this on there in there to dry out. Tell you what, I'll quickly throw it on, and then I'll do the card while we're waiting on that. That should dry out fast. So while we're waiting on that, I'll just show you how to do this card. I know I showed you last time. I pretty much got up to the whole thing. But I'm just going to go over it just again so that anyone who has any questions will be able to see, you know, how I did it. So I'm just taking the walnut stain right now, and I'm just liberally applying it over everything to make it look more antiqued. And I'm going to get a heavier walnut stain to go around the edges, which I'm going to distress. So let's distress the edges. Again, with this one, I went around with the walnut stain, and then I went around again with the black. And I'm going to show you how I crease the edge again. This time I'm going to give it a slightly different crease, so it looks different, you know? You don't want all of them looking the same.
Okay.
I really hope you guys can hear me over the top of Julian just blabbering away there and counting. Okay, so this time I'm going to do sort of like a weird angled crease like that. Gonna give it a bit of interest. We're gonna go over that with the
brown. You got brown.
There's that. Okay, go around the edges. I promise I'll show you progress pic in a second. I'm just so perfectionistic. I don't like to show people when I'm halfway through because I don't want them to go, what? That looks terrible, because I've still got blending and stuff to do.
Oh, okay.
But, here. See, so I'm just going around with walnut stain. Now I'm going to go and grab my vintage photo. And what I do, I don't know if this is helpful to you, but see the little dauber, and each of them is for a different color ink. And what I do to store them is so I don't get them mixed up. I get my little stain, my little ink, and I pop it in the back of it like that, and then I've always got the right one with the right ink. Okay, so there's the vintage photo one.
What's happened?
And I'm just going to use it dry first. You want it, you don't want to like freshly ink it straight away because you want to be able to use it dry, like to get some of the detail in first before you start really. Because when you're rubbing it in, you get a different effect when the sponge is wet to when it's pretty dry.
Did you drop one? Yeah, Mom.
Thank you, Julian. Okay. Thank you. That's the black one. Thank you very much. My little helper. Alright, so now I'm going to go around with the Sharpie. I find the Sharpie just helps define the edge just a bit better. Let me see, I'll show you in a second.
That's a black one? Okay. There you go, Mom.
Alright, so there it is with the Sharpie. There it is without the Sharpie. See how this one's just got that more... Do you know what? You need to be able to have something behind it so you can see. Alright. See how that's got like better definition than that side? You guys may not be able to tell as easily, but it's really visible in real life. And so I go around with that and with the black dauber, and then I add black around the edges of it too, to make it blend with the envelope. More Sharpie. Now see these little, this is what I'm saying you need to watch out for when you're using Sharpie. You don't want to have too many of those. I've got it on the journaling side, so I don't really care. I just don't want it on the front because that'll look tacky. So, here we go. Sharpie. Okay. And I think we pretty much got our card to the right stage. See, there we go. This one's got more vintage photo. This one's got more walnut stain. You can sort of tell the shading variations, I guess you'd say. But it doesn't really matter because they're going for different cards anyway. Actually, I might use this one for this one because I think it blends in a bit better. There we go. And so on this one, I stuck this little spider tab that I cut off another piece. And I don't have one left for this one. So what I'm going to use is a couple of these tabs. I'm going to fold that in half. These are our tabs off our dividers. And I'm just going to get the corner punch that I use to finish off the corners. Instead of having to cut them by hand, I just find it quicker and easier and much nicer if I fold it and then cut off the corner. It makes it look really nice. There we go. And I'm going to stick that one on the top here. Grab myself a little glue. Oh, my hair is getting in the way. Okay. Glue it on both sides because both sides are sticking to a different side of the card. There we go. Look, it's not necessary to stick these tabs on. I just like the interest. I like the extra dimension, the little bit extra that it adds. I think it's cute. Just adding that little bit of interest, you know. There we go. And then I'll be able to write a title on that if I want to, or a date, whatever. I think I might distress the top edge of this just to make it blend in a little bit more. This is the black.
This is black.
I'm not real careful with my inking. I know some people are really subtle and very nice at it. I just whack it on there and hope for the best. I like quite a heavy look with it, so I don't take excessive amounts of care with it. You can do as you like. There we go. So that one's done. Let's go check on our other one.
I want. Okay.
There we go. Ooh, that's hot, 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 hot. All right, here we go.
That's hot.
Yes, it is hot.
Very hot. Be
Very
careful,
hot.
Mom. Be careful.
There we go. And so at this point, what we need to do is just edge it. I'd like to be a little bit heavier on the edging. Now that it's dry, it's easier to do that. Now you don't have to use those three colors. You don't have to use vintage photo, antique linen, and walnut stain. You may choose to just stick with vintage photo or just antique linen or just walnut stain or a blend of two. These are just colors that I favor. I like quite a dark look. Not everyone does. So I think I'll just use the Sharpie for this edge. There we go. A little bit of black. All right. So now we've gotten up to the stage that I was at in the last one. Just got to score these edges. I think pretty much all I've got left to show you guys is how I blended in the envelope edges here and the little Ouija board indicator, the little thing that slides around the Ouija board. And as hard as that looks, it's super simple, so... Shh, Julian, please be quiet. Alright, so we'll fold this, fold that. There you have it. That's how it looks. Now, in order to make it blend more this with this, I'm going to edge the edges with walnut stain as well.
Come on, Mom. Come on. Come on, Mom. Come on. Come on, Mom. Come on. Come on.
Come on, Julian.
Oh.
Quiet. Quiet.
I'm trying sleeping. I'm trying to sleep.
Okay, you try and sleep then.
I'm sleep. I'm sleep. Some blue boxes.
There you have it. All right, and see, it almost even makes the spider jump out more when you edge it all like that and make it all like really dark. So there it would be with the card in it, and it's got the little tab. So that's exactly the same as this one, except it's using a different tab and a different card, that's all. I haven't glued this one down yet because I wanted to be able to show you the inside, but there we have them both. Slightly different colorings, but you know, pretty much the same. See, you can get a really different effect just with a different crease and a slightly different coloration. And then now I'm going to show you how to do this little Ouija board pointer. And all I did was I got a scrap piece of cardstock and I got my scissors. I didn't even draw it on. I just freehanded it. I just cut myself like a little triangle. And I rounded the corners to look like a Ouija board pointer. There we go. And I got my crocodile, or you could just use a regular hole punch, and punched a hole in it.
Hi, Mom.
My crocodile didn't punch all the way through.
Of this guy,
There we go. And then I got my vintage photo. Got myself a scrap paper. No, not vintage photo. I used, or maybe it was vintage photo I used. I've got walnut stain on here, so let's change it out. There we go. It's got some ink. Oh no, I think maybe it was walnut stone. It doesn't matter anyway. And I rubbed it liberally all over the pointer because I was going for a real blended look. I wanted to just blend it in a lot more than what it was, because this one's black and white, really grey, sort of, and didn't have very much brown. And so I think I'm going to need that walnut stain after all. There we go. Yeah, that's better. And then I got my Sharpie, and where the hole is, I put the Sharpie tip in and went all around the edge. There, I went around the edges of the pointer itself. And there you have it. That's how I made my little pointer, and I just put some foam board underneath there, but you can put like 3D dots or whatever you'd like, and you'll have your little pointer ready for your Ouija board, which just adds a cute fun element, I think. And that's it. I hope that's been helpful. I'm sorry for having to do it in 2 parts. It's ended up being a bit long anyway, so it probably worked out for the best anyway. And I just wanted to show you versatility for how to, how to do some of these, how to finish them off. And, I wanted you to see that it's quite versatile. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here. I just gouged my ink with my nail. There we go. I wanted you to see that there's lots of different ways that you can do it, and lots of different things that you can combine to make it look really good. And see, I mean, these are basically done using the same technique, and yet they look sort of different, and very unique. And yeah, I hope it all helped, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll be doing the binding next, so we'll see you in that one. Thank you.